Hey, everyone. Welcome to Storytelling Time, the place where every story comes alive. If you love getting lost in thrilling tales, gripping mysteries, and epic adventures, you're in the right spot. I'm your storyteller, and here, we don't just tell stories, we bring them to life. Whether it's fantasy, mystery, horror, or even a bit of comedy, we're all about immersion. So grab a snack, get comfy, and prepare for a journey that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single chapter. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join the Storytelling Time family. Let's dive into the stories that await, starting now. This happened a couple nights ago, and I gotta write it down. Thinking it and saying it out loud just makes it sound crazier, like it didn't really happen. But it did. God help me, it did. I've been with CMPD for over 16 years. I've seen the worst people can do to each other. I've responded to everything from triple homicides to meth labs that blew themselves into the next zip code. I thought I was numb. Thought nothing could really get under my skin anymore. But the worst calls always start the same way. Can you check out a noise complaint? Sounds like a baby crying. Came over dispatch just after 2 a.m. I was finishing paperwork in my cruiser, parked outside a closed CVS. When the call came in, I didn't hesitate. I'm a dad, or used to be, I still am, but my girl's 14 now, living with her mom in Winston. Still, that cry. It's hardwired into your bones. Doesn't matter how long it's been. You hear it, you move. The area was West Charlotte, near Mount Holly Road. Woods behind an old Duke Energy substation, fenced off years ago after a fire. Used to be a makeshift dumping ground, then it got overgrown, swallowed up by brush and time. No real trails. Not the kind of place you take a stroller for a walk. But some people do live out there. Campers. Folks who slipped between the cracks. You never judge. You just go in prepared. The caller hadn't left a name. Just said the sound came from deep in the trees. No address, no real details. Probably some drunk guy night fishing on Mountain Island Lake, heard a sound that spooked him. That's what I told myself. Probably a fox. Hell, maybe a bobcat. They scream like children when they're in heat. Seen it before. I went alone. I know, protocol says wait for backup, but I wasn't thinking worst case. I was thinking cold baby, scared mom. I was thinking maybe I could help. Or maybe I just didn't want someone else to answer the call first. I parked on the shoulder, radioed my location, and started in on foot. It's funny, the things you notice when you're walking into nowhere. Like how sound drops off in woods that dense. No bugs. No frogs. No distant cars. Just the crunch of my boots and the whisper of branches clawing at my vest. The air turned cold quick. Real cold. Wrong for April cold. My breath fogged up in front of me like it was January. That should have been my second warning. The first was going in alone. And then I heard it. Wah. Soft. Weak. Definitely a baby. The kind of cry that catches you right in the chest, tightens something behind your ribs. Wah. Same pitch. Same rhythm. Over and over, looping. I stopped. It sounded like my daughter. The day we brought her home. I could still hear it, that tiny desperate noise she made when she didn't know the world yet, when everything was new and terrifying. I clicked on my flashlight and moved toward the ridge ahead. And that's when I saw them. Eyes. Dozens of them, reflecting back in the beam of my light. They stepped out of the trees in perfect silence. Pale shapes, white as ghosts, antlers glinting like frozen coral. A herd of deer, but wrong. Albino. All of them. Red eyes. No fear. They didn't bolt. They didn't blink. They just stared. I couldn't move. Their bodies weren't right. Too tall, legs too long. Joints too low, like someone had melted them and put them back together in the wrong order. One of them had legs that bent backward entirely. It looked like it was walking on broken stilts. In the center stood one smaller than the rest. No antlers. Female, maybe. I couldn't tell. Her head tilted, unnatural, jerking to the side like a puppet on a bad string. Then her mouth opened. Wide. Too wide. And from that mouth came the baby's cry. Wah. Wah. Not a noise. A playback. Like a cassette stuck on rewind. I was frozen. My hand clenched so hard around the flashlight I think I cracked the plastic. My skin felt hot, like every blood vessel inside me had opened up at once. I should have run. I didn't. I raised the light. And they turned. All of them. In unison. Like dancers in a slow-motion ballet. They walked back into the dark without a sound. Between the trees. Out of sight. And the crying stopped. Just like that. 30 seconds passed. Maybe more. Then my legs remembered how to work. I backed up, stumbled, nearly dropped my flashlight. I didn't stop until I was back at the cruiser. Tried to radio it in. Static. It didn't work again until I was 5 miles down the road. Next morning, I came back with animal control. They found nothing. No tracks. No fur. No droppings. Just one thing buried shallow in the brush. A tooth. Not an animal's. Not a deer's. A human baby tooth. White. Smooth. Perfect. The animal control guy laughed it off. Said maybe there was a baby out here last night. Maybe a homeless mom passed through. He shrugged, chucked the tooth back into the woods like it was nothing. But I couldn't leave it. I don't know why I picked it up. But I did. I took it home. And ever since, things haven't been right. I didn't sleep the night I brought the tooth home. I told myself it was nothing. Just a souvenir from a weird night. A way to prove to myself it had happened. That I hadn't imagined it, hadn't dreamed the whole damn thing up. I put it in a plastic evidence bag and tucked it into my desk drawer like that made it safe. Like maybe if it was sealed, whatever was on it couldn't reach me. But something did. At first it was small things. I started hearing crying. Not loud. Just faint. Like it was coming through the walls, or from the trees beyond the backyard. I live alone in a 2-bedroom ranch outside Pineville. No neighbors close enough to hear through the walls. No babies on the block. Nothing but woods behind me. But there it was, night after night. Always around 2 a.m. Wah. Wah. Same cadence. Same rhythm. Same mechanical loop. The first time, I jumped out of bed, thinking maybe I'd left my body cam on by accident, maybe somehow the sound had recorded and was playing back. But the cam was in its charger at the station. Second night, I thought maybe it was a fox. Or an owl. Maybe even a coyote. My mind searched for every possible reason that didn't involve glowing red eyes and a mouth opening too wide. By the third night, I stopped making excuses. Because I saw them again. I was standing at the sink, washing the coffee mug I hadn't used in 2 days. It was nearly 2:30. I'd given up on sleep. Something drew my eyes to the window. Maybe a movement. A flicker. A shift in the dark. That's when I saw them. 3 of them. Standing just beyond the tree line. White shapes. Motionless. Watching. I didn't move. Just turned off the faucet, set the mug down, and stared back. Then they were gone. Just like that. No footsteps. No sound. Like blinking stars out of the sky. Next morning, I checked the camera feed from the security system I'd installed a year ago after a string of break-ins. Nothing. Just static between 2 o'clock and 3 a.m. I told myself it was a glitch. The next night, I saw them again. Closer this time. One stood at the edge of the lawn. Another near the birdbath. The third stood right in front of the back door. Still. Waiting. I didn't go out. Didn't even breathe. Just stood in the hallway, staring through the slit in the blinds. And then, right as the clock turned 3 o'clock, they vanished. That was 2 nights ago. Now I don't sleep at all. And the tooth? It's gone. I didn't throw it away. I didn't move it. I didn't touch that drawer. But last night I opened it and the bag was gone. Just an empty spot where it had been. This morning, I checked the backyard again. There were no deer. No tracks. But carved into the dirt, just below the window, was a shape. A spiral. Wide, looping, dragging across the lawn like something large had turned in circles before vanishing. I haven't told anyone. My ex already thinks I'm losing it. If I call her saying I've got ghost deer mimicking baby cries and spirals in the yard, I won't just lose visitation, I'll end up on forced leave. I haven't called it in. Can't. Because here's the part one haven't told anyone, not even in the report I filed. The last time I saw that deer, her, the one with the mouth that opened wrong. Right before she turned, she looked at me. Tilted her head. And in my voice, not a baby's, but mine. She whispered, "Come back." The next morning, I drove out to the spot near the substation. I don't know what I was looking for. Maybe proof I hadn't dreamed it. Maybe something to tell me where the hell that tooth went. Maybe just something real. There was nothing. Same patch of woods, same tangled brush, same silence. Not even birds. I walked the perimeter. No tracks. No antlers caught in the wire. No unnatural spirals. But on my way back to the cruiser, I saw a guy standing by the guardrail. Old man. Heavy flannel, trucker cap, long gray beard like spiderwebs. Looked like he'd grown out of the woods themselves. I clocked him at first as just another local out for a stroll, but then I noticed something, he was staring dead on at the woods. Not like a tourist. Like he knew them. "You went in there last night," he said. Voice like gravel soaked in whiskey. I stopped walking. "You been following me?" He didn't answer. Instead, he looked me over, then nodded to the tree line. "They show you the white ones?" I didn't say anything. He didn't wait. "They're not deer. Haven't been for a long time." I crossed my arms. "You got a name?" "People used to call me Kleb. Ain't many people left to call me anything these days." I didn't correct the grammar. Didn't matter. "You want to tell me what the hell those things were?" I asked. He chuckled, a dry rattle. "You think they're just animals that wandered off nature's blueprint? That's what they want. What they really are. Old. Older than Charlotte. Older than the trees. And when they come looking, they always start with the crying. You've seen them? Course I have. My brother was taken by them in '88. Said he heard a baby in the swamp. Walked right into the mud and never came out. I didn't know what to say to that. I was halfway between walking away and arresting him for wasting my time. Look, I said finally, whatever you think they are, they're stalking me now. I've seen them in my yard. One of them's using my voice. Cleb went real still. You brought something back, didn't you? A tooth. His face darkened. You fool. That's a mark. A trade. A what? You touched what's theirs. Now you're on their path. You ever see a deer lay a spiral in the grass? That's not nesting. That's claiming. I swallowed. There's ways to keep them out, Cleb said. Old ways. Not foolproof, but it buys you time. What kind of ways? He pulled something from his coat pocket. A rough bundle, sage, red thread, and what looked like a bone tied in a knot. You hang this above your door. Sleep with iron under your pillow. And don't listen when they call your name. I took the bundle. How do I stop them? Cleb looked back at the trees, like they were listening. You don't stop them. You survive them. And then he turned and walked down the embankment, vanishing like mist between the trees. The shift started normal. Quiet streets. 2 drunk calls, 1 shoplifter, a teenager throwing rocks at a Waffle House sign. But I couldn't shake the weight. It sat behind my eyes like a migraine brewing. The kind you feel in your teeth. I got off duty around 2:30 a.m. and drove straight home. I tried not to look at the woods behind my fence. Tried not to look at the dead patch in the grass where my motion light keeps flickering. Tried not to think about the baby tooth I know I left in the drawer that's now just gone. Instead, I sat down and opened the body cam footage from the other night. Call it masochism. Call it making peace. I just wanted to prove to myself it happened the way I remember. I shouldn't have hit play. At first, it's the usual. Me walking through thick brush, grumbling about my boots. Flashlight beam cutting through branches. The wind. Then the cry. Wah. Wah. It still turned my stomach to hear it. I watched myself freeze. But the second time I played it, something changed. Right before the crying begins, just for a breath of a second, the audio glitched. A hard cut, pop, and in that space between digital frames, I heard something else. My own voice. Come back. I paused it. Rewound. Listened again. Come back. But I never said that. Not once. Not in that tone. It was too calm. Too rehearsed. I went frame by frame. One click at a time. In the trees, right before the eyes show up, there's something behind a trunk. Not a deer. Antlers, yes. But too many. Layered. Almost like coral growing out of a skull. The figure didn't move like the rest. It pulsed, like it was breathing. And then the cam cut out entirely. Nothing but black. Full 53 seconds missing. No explanation. I sat back, cold sweat on my neck. Staring at the screen like it owed me an answer. Then the motion sensor light on my porch flicked on. I didn't move. I didn't want to. But habit kicked in. I hit the monitor feed on my home system. And there it was. Standing at the edge of the yard, just beyond the reach of the light. A white deer. Not moving. Not blinking. Just standing there like it was listening. But that wasn't what made me clench up. Its mouth was open. And from the speakers came a glitchy, warbling cry. But this time, not a baby. This time, the voice said, "Officer Hale, you left something behind." I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the spiral. Burned into grass. Scratched into bark. Swirling in the fog behind my eyelids. At 6:02 a.m., I finally stood up from the couch and made coffee. I looked out the window. No deer. No footprints. Just a yard coated in dew and silence. Almost enough to make me believe I imagined it. Almost. I picked up my phone and thumbed through old incident reports. Noise complaints in wooded areas. Missing persons calls. Dead ends mostly. But when I filtered for baby cries. 7 reports in the last 15 years. All west side. All near that same fenced-off substation. One stood out. August 11, 2009. Caller said they heard a child crying behind their trailer at 3:17 a.m. Officers arrived, found no child, just a man, barefoot, walking in circles with his eyes rolled back. Comatose. No ID. He died in the hospital 3 days later. Never woke up. Body claimed by no one. No follow-up. There was an audio file attached. I hesitated, then hit play. Wah. Wah. Same cry. But warped, like a tape underwater. In the background, voices. Muffled. Distorted. And mine. I'm not exaggerating. I heard myself. I said, "Don't follow the lights, don't let them hear your name." Then static. How the hell was my voice on a file from 2009? I was halfway through rereading the report when my phone rang. Blocked number. I almost let it go. I shouldn't have answered. Dad? It was my daughter. Her voice cracked. She sounded scared. There was something outside my window last night. I thought it was a deer. But it was wrong. It kept moving its mouth, like it was trying to talk. My blood went cold. It said your name. It said, "Tell him to come back." I told her to lock the doors. Told her I'd be there in 2 hours. She lives with her mom in Boone, 200 miles away. Up in the mountains. They're that far north now. I grabbed my badge, my keys, and checked my pistol. As I opened the drawer by the door, there it was. The tooth. Wrapped in hair. Sitting on top of my wallet like it never left. The highway up to Boone was quiet that morning. Pale gray fog hung over the hills, swallowing sound and sunlight alike. The kind of stillness that makes you feel like the world's waiting to exhale. I made the drive in just under 2 hours. Didn't stop for gas. Didn't stop for coffee. Just gripped the wheel hard enough to leave imprints. Kept thinking about the tooth. It's in a Ziploc now, double-bagged and tucked in a glove compartment like it's radioactive. Like it could whisper. Sometimes I swear I hear crying from the vents. My daughter's place is a townhouse up near Howard's Knob. Forest backs right up to the yard. Pines thick and crooked. You could lose anything in there and never find it again. She came out to meet me before I could knock. Still in pajamas. Pale. Tired. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt it watching. She pointed to her window. It was just standing there. White. Still. Antlers too big to be real. It didn't blink. Just opened its mouth. Over and over. I stepped past her and walked to the back porch. That's when I saw the marks in the dirt. Not hoof prints. Kneeling. Hands. Human. Something had crawled up from the tree line on all fours. Then stood. In the center of the clearing was a spiral made from pine needles, perfect and careful. Inside the spiral, a torn piece of paper. I picked it up. The ink was smeared from dew, but I could still make out the handwriting. Slanted. Panicked. Don't let them copy you. They only need your name, your grief, and a door. The crying is the door. You're already inside. I took the note and told my daughter we were leaving. Right then. No argument. She didn't argue. She just nodded. But as I turned back toward the porch, I saw something in the glass of the sliding door. My reflection. Only it wasn't moving like me. My reflection stayed behind when I stepped away. Then. It smiled. And its mouth opened too wide. And it cried. Wah. Wah. Her name was Evelyn Rourke, and she lived off a dirt road with no name. The old files listed her late husband, Deputy Simon Rourke, as missing in the line of duty, 1994. The file was thin. Too thin. I only found her through a handwritten address on the back of a yellowing intake sheet, filed by an officer who died 2 decades ago. Her mailbox was rusted. Fence collapsed under moss and kudzu. But the porch light was on, even though it was past noon. She answered before I could knock. Thin. Sharp-eyed. A cigarette dangling from one hand. Took you long enough, she said. Inside, the house smelled like cedar and old paper. Every wall was covered in photographs. Dozens of them. All framed. None newer than the late 90s. I noticed right away, many of the faces were scratched out. Not violently. Carefully. Surgically. I thought I was done with cops asking questions. But you're not here for him, are you? I shook my head. I'm here because of the white deer. Her hand trembled a little as she set her cigarette in the tray. They're not deer. She sat down slowly, like her bones remembered every fall she'd ever taken. They wear the skin of deer. But they're not. They're what's left behind when something's been hollowed out. Like grief that learned to walk. Why do they cry like babies? She looked at me. And for a moment, I thought she might cry too. Because that's the sound we'll always answer. A baby crying. Even if it's wrong. Even if it's stitched together with broken teeth. She stood, pulled a box from the bookshelf. Inside was a journal. Simon saw them before he disappeared. Not the first in his unit to go missing, either. He started tracking the spiral patterns in missing persons cases. Drew maps. Took photos. Said it all led back to one place. She opened the journal to a hand-drawn map. Right there, in pen and pencil, scratched with shaking fingers, was a dense spiral drawn over the wooded area near Mount Holly Road. It spread outward in circles. Like rot. He called them the Hollow Herd. Said they only need 3 things to make you part of them, a name, a grief, and an open door. I swallowed hard. What's the door? She flipped to the last page. Blank, except for 6 words. The door is wherever you answer. I didn't stay long after that. I had what I came for. When I left, she didn't say goodbye. Just went back to her chair and turned on the radio. As I pulled away, I glanced in the rearview mirror. There was a white shape in the trees behind her house. Watching. I didn't drive straight home. I took back roads, looped around towns I didn't need to see. Paranoia? Maybe. Or maybe it was instinct. Something told me if I took the highway, I wouldn't make it back. I kept the tooth on the passenger seat the whole way. Wrapped in hair. Double-bagged. It never moved. But it never felt like it was still either. Every now and then, I swore I heard breathing when the wind picked up. Heard my daughter's voice. Heard mine. Back at the house, I didn't go inside. Didn't turn off the car. I took the tooth straight to the shed in my backyard. I'd already dug a hole. Deep enough to hide a confession. I dropped the bag inside. Poured lighter fluid. Lit a match. Watched it burn. The flame caught fast, too fast. Shot up like the bag was full of dry leaves. I didn't smell plastic. I smelled something sour. Something like spoiled milk and copper. I gagged. Stepped back. When the fire died, there was nothing left. Nothing but the hair. It didn't burn. That night, I boarded up my daughter's window in Boone. Drove back. Slept with the lights on. Woke up 4 times to check the yard. Nothing. Until 3:13 a.m. That's when the baby monitor went off. I don't have a baby monitor. It was an old one. I recognized it. The model I used when my daughter was an infant. It was sitting on the kitchen table. I picked it up, hands shaking. It was on. Wah. Wah. No static. Just the cry. Over and over. Until the voice changed. Until it said, "You buried the wrong thing." I dropped it. Backed away. Something knocked on the front door. 3 slow, heavy knocks. I drew my pistol. Stepped to the door. Held my breath. Checked the peephole. Nothing. But when I opened the door, there was something on the porch. A second baby tooth. Still bloody. Wrapped in my daughter's school picture. The second tooth wasn't dry. It was warm. I didn't touch it. Just stood there, listening. No wind. No birds. No cars. The whole street sounded like it had been pressed under glass. The picture was old. My daughter's 5th grade school portrait. She hadn't lived with me that year, her mom had moved her to Greensboro after the custody fight. I never had that picture. So how did they get it? I knew I couldn't stay home. I drove straight to the place where this started, the woods behind Mount Holly Road. The defunct substation. The ridge. The place where the eyes watched me. It looked the same. But also, not. I counted the steps this time. From the shoulder to the place where the air changed. 813. That's when I smelled it again, burnt milk and copper. That's when the world got cold. I stopped when I saw the spiral. Fresh this time. Dug into the dirt. Meticulously carved. Inside it, something new. A body. Not whole, just the torso and head. Dressed like me. Same badge number. Same uniform. Same face. Dead eyes staring up at the canopy. I backed away, heart pounding. That's when I heard my voice. From the trees. You didn't bury it deep enough. I ran. I don't remember how I got back to the cruiser. Just that when I slammed the door and hit the ignition, the radio came on without me touching it. Channel 3. Static at first. Then a voice. Officer Hale, report status. It was dispatch. Normal tone. No distortion. I grabbed the mic. 1072. I found something out there, Jesus, it looked like me. You need to send backup. Silence. Then. But Officer Hale is already here. My stomach turned to ice. Repeat, I said. Who's there with you? You, dispatch said. Calm. Almost, amused. He says he made it back. That he buried the tooth. That he's safe. My hands went numb. He brought his daughter with him. I didn't go to Boone. Not yet. Because if what dispatch said was true, if I was already there, then I needed to know what the hell was here with me. I drove until I hit a dead zone. Killed the lights. Sat in the dark. Waited. He came at 4:17 a.m. Out of the trees, quiet as shadow. Same gait. Same cut of my hair. Same scar on the left jawline from that bar fight in '09. But he was wrong. Too still. Too clean. Eyes too alive, like glass trying to remember what blood looked like. I stepped out of the cruiser. Didn't draw. Didn't speak. He did. You're not protecting her. You're hoarding her. I said nothing. You don't even deserve to remember her cry. His voice was like mine, but flatter. Sharper. Like it had been practiced in a mirror. They don't want you. Not exactly. They want what was taken from them. I finally spoke. What are they? He tilted his head. Echoes. Left behind when grief rots in silence too long. When something dies screaming and no one comes. He took a step forward. His boots didn't crunch the leaves. They feed on what we answer. What we name. They needed your pain. Your guilt. Your fatherhood. They needed a vessel. You. I leveled my gun. He didn't flinch. What happens to the original? He smiled. You mean the first copy? The one before me? I fired. The body dropped. No blood. Just a puff of ash and a gust of wind so cold it sucked the warmth from my lungs. The spiral was beneath him. Burned into the dirt. It wasn't finished. The outermost line was still drawing itself. Carving a circle wider than the clearing. And I realized. I was standing inside it. That's when they stepped out from the trees. Not deer. Not men. Twisted white forms. Joints too long. Faces too blank. Antlers grown from old, bony hands. Skin like grave wax. And at the center of them. A child. Small. Pale. With my daughter's eyes. Daddy. She stepped forward first. Small. Shivering. Wearing her old blue coat, the one I'd boxed up after the divorce. The one with the rip at the pocket and the grape juice stain on the sleeve. Daddy, she said again. You came back. The hollow herd ringed us in silence. Dozens of them. Bodies twitching just beneath stillness. Their coral antlers shimmered with a light that didn't come from this world. I took a step toward her. You're not her. She blinked. Does it matter? I didn't answer. I looked at the one with the split chest. The one that cried like a baby before it screamed like me. What do you want? I asked. The antlered heads turned in unison. To be remembered, they said, one voice, many mouths. To be answered. To be held. The child stepped closer. Say my name, she whispered. My throat locked up. Because I wanted to. I wanted to grab her. Hold her. Pretend I could still fix everything. That's how they get you. That's the open door. Grief. Love. Regret. Answering the echo. I dropped my gun. I took off my badge. Then I dropped my wallet, the one with her picture. Her real picture. I placed it on the ground. I remember, I said. But I won't let you wear her face. The herd shifted. You must choose. I stepped into the spiral. Then I choose silence. The forest shook. Trees groaned. Their heads all snapped toward me. You will not answer. No. You will not call her back. I will let her go. The child's face flickered. Her eyes blurred, mouth stretched, form twisted. She screamed, first like a baby, then like a man, then like me, then like nothing at all. A howl ripped through the forest. The spiral lit up, burning gold, then white-hot blue. Like fire unmaking its own shape. And the herd? They crumbled. Not with pain. With release. Like broken puppets finally allowed to fall. Their bodies turned to ash. The spiral collapsed inward. A howl like time unspooling behind my eyes. And then. Stillness. I woke up in the clearing. Alone. No spiral. No ash. Just trees. Birds. Wind. In my hand, the photo was gone. Replaced with a small scrap of cloth. Blue. Grape juice stained. Torn at the pocket. They cleared me for duty 3 weeks later. Psych eval came back clean, somehow. Guess I'm good at lying to therapists. Or maybe I'm not lying. Maybe they're just not asking the right questions. I haven't told anyone about the spiral. Or the child with my daughter's eyes. Or the thing that screamed my name in a dozen borrowed voices. I can't tell them. Because I'm not sure the me who went into those woods is the same one who came back. The first thing I noticed. I stopped dreaming. Not just nightmares, anything. No sound. No color. Just blank sleep, like I was switched off every night. At first, it felt like peace. Then I noticed the other thing. The silence wasn't empty. It was waiting. I've started hearing things on shift. Not voices, exactly. More like patterns. Rhythms hiding in the static of the radio. Morse code in the hum of power lines. Sometimes it sounds like crying. Sometimes like my own heartbeat, but wrong. Syncopated. Like someone else's heart was practicing inside my chest. The deer don't show up anymore. Not really. But once, I saw their shadows move under the street lamps. And last week, I passed a baby stroller on the sidewalk downtown. Empty. When I looked inside, I found a tooth. Not a baby tooth this time. An adult molar. Cracked. Human. Mine. I don't know. My mouth still feels full. But sometimes, when I smile, I swear I taste ash. The biggest change. I know when people are lying now. I can hear it. Not words, vibrations. A warble behind the truth. Like their voice is dragging something dead behind it. The first time I heard it, I almost vomited. The second time, I leaned in closer. Now I listen for it. Sometimes, I catch myself whispering back. Not in English. Not even words. Just answers. Quiet, automatic, like I'm repeating something I don't remember learning. I broke the cycle. But I'm starting to think that didn't set me free. It opened a door. And something stepped through with me. Boone, North Carolina. 3 hours northwest of Charlotte. Population 12,000, give or take. Cold mountain air. Old woods. Older things. A ranger named Lizzie found the girl at dawn, just off the parkway. Barefoot. Blue coat. Pale as snow. Couldn't be older than 7. Didn't speak a word. Didn't blink much either. Just kept holding something in her hand. A tooth. Small. Fresh. Still bleeding at the root. They called in child services. Medical scans came back, strange. No fingerprints. No dental record. Brain activity off the charts, but not in the ways they understood. Lights were firing that shouldn't have been lit at all. Parts of the brain that usually sleep until death awake. They placed her in foster care. She didn't cry. Didn't eat. Didn't move at night. Except once. The mother woke to find the girl standing at the foot of the bed, head tilted toward the baby monitor. Listening. Smiling. A week later, the girl vanished. The only thing left on the floor. A photo. Old. Water-stained. A man in uniform. Tired eyes. Name tag, Hale. Behind him, in the woods, shadows shaped like antlers. They say Hale's gone now. Off the grid. Some think he cracked. Some think he died. Some think he never existed in the first place. But sometimes, when the wind cuts sharp down the Blue Ridge, and a baby cries where no baby lives, you'll see him. Standing at the edge of the tree-line. Not quite smiling. Not quite human. But still listening. Still answering.